Hey guys, I'm Amelia, welcome to my channel. Today we are going to be discussing the PlayStation 4 January games, if they're any good, and if it's worth you buying the PlayStation Plus pass.
The first game we're going to be talking about today is Deep Rock Galactic. You are a team of dwarves who have been sent to mine for certain items, and you have to meet the quota, which appears in the top right corner of the screen. Occasionally, you'll find yourself being attacked by some arachnoids and other creepy crawly type enemies who will hinder your progress. There are several game modes. These are Mining Expedition, Egg Hunt, On-Site Refining, Salvage Operation, Point Extraction, Escort Duty, Elimination and Industrial Sabotage. There are also 4 types of dwarves to choose from, each having their own special equipment. There is a Scout, Gunner, Engineer and Driller. The Scout class has a large flare gun which is very useful and lights up a good amount of the map for you and for your team. You'll also get a grappling hook which is useful for climbing and exploration and getting to those higher to reach areas or just plain old evading enemies. For weapons in this class, you'll get an assault rifle and a sawn-off shotgun. These aren't the most damaging of weapons though, so you're going to want to make sure that you stick with your team for cover. You aren't going to manage solo against swarms. The next type of dwarf you can use is an engineer. One of the useful things an engineer has is a holographic decoy, which enemies should attack instead of you, helpful to use against swarms, and making it back to the drop pod. There's also a grenade launcher. This does a lot of damage and is really fun to use. Another thing you can use is a sentry turret. It has good range and does good damage, but it takes a little bit of time to build, so make sure that you get it built in time before the swarms are overpowering you. Another character that you have the choice of is the gunner. He has a minigun, a revolver, a zipline and a shield generator. This character is a little bit slower, but he is more powerful. The minigun will take care of any enemies without an issue, even the bigger ones. The gunner also has a zipline gun. This is really useful for getting up to those high to reach places in terms of mining, or it can be used in combat. When you move uphill using the zipline cable, you move really slowly, which means it's fantastic for shooting as you have good aim. The shield generator is very useful, especially in situations such as these. It can help you to revive your teammates and keep you safe just long enough to do what you need to do. It's important to remember that you can't shoot out of these shields. I think the class that I had most fun playing as though was the driller, and that's purely because of the digging with the power drills instead of the pickaxe. It's really fun to use. They're really powerful and they can help you carve tunnels very quickly, brilliant for making steps for the team. Unfortunately, this works on a cooling down system and can only be used so many times, but the fun is worth those cons, trust me. You also get a large flamethrower which is very powerful against most types of enemies. This has medium range though, so there's no ridding swarms from afar. There's also a grenade that you can use with good damage and good range. It's definitely worth playing around with all the characters and finding which one is more fun for you. As in real life, you cannot carry many of the rocks. Therefore, there's a crab type robot to deposit into. This vaguely follows you, but you'll need to call it to your location using the triangle button. Once the robot is full and you've met your quota, you need to activate a button to call in a ship called the drop pod. This comes to retrieve you, your team and your newfound cargo. From there, the robot will lead the way back to the drop pod and it will drop green lights which you can follow, or you can try and make it there yourself. But you'll need to be careful as you'll be swarmed by enemies on your departure and you'll definitely need to work together to get out. This game has a lobby style which is very similar to Among Us, meaning this is a fantastic game to have a laugh with your mates, and it's definitely more enjoyable playing it with people that you know. But with or without your friends, this is something that most people will be able to enjoy. Some people may find themselves being bored of it quickly, but looking at players' reviews and comments, the general consensus is that this is a game that they love. I recommend playing this if you have PlayStation Plus. This game is currently $24.99 on the PlayStation Network and on Steam. The next game that you'll be able to play this month is Dirt 5. This game has tried to ensure that it is adaptable to most driving game preferences, so there's a decent choice of changes that you can make to the driving style. Career difficulty changes how much better your opponents will drive, and that can be set from easy to very hard. Then you can choose between a preset with a choice of intermediate or advanced, or you can customise your own settings. This affects things like traction control and anti-lock brakes. It's worth playing around with the settings to get the type of gameplay that you're after. It can be made to feel more like Need for Speed or something that is relatively realistic, but not to the point of being anal retentive, so it remains enjoyable for all to play. For example, turning traction control to off isn't as realistic as it would be in real life and is always on to some degree. Therefore, it is more forgiving and it makes the gaming experience a non-frustrating one. If you have actual driving experience or are a veteran at driving games, you'll probably find advanced settings are easier to play with than the intermediate. There's a medium range of cars to choose from, and of course a few more if you buy through the PlayStation Store. Unfortunately though, you have to start with the Skoda Fabia, and if you want to change to a similar hatchback like a Fiesta or a Polo, you'll have to play a few races first to earn some cash. But luckily, this doesn't take too long. One issue with the choice of cars in this game, however, is that they're very imbalanced. Some of the early cars have the capability to take you far into the game in comparison to others that you can unlock later. There isn't too much for customising the body of the car, especially in comparison to other games. You can choose the pattern with a few presets and then change the colours, and you can also have the choice of stickers and sponsors. Something to consider though is it may take a good play around with the settings and a little bit of practice. It also pays to get used to the difference between all-wheel drive, four-wheel drive and rear-wheel drive. The traction differences they have tried to make realistic, which they've achieved better than in previous games. It may take some practice to get used to. Also, it might be beneficial to try different cars. Players struggling with rear-wheel smaller cars like the Dune Buggy might find the heavier rear-wheel drive cars a bit easier to use. Most players will find themselves enjoying it once they've got it right for them, so don't be concerned if at first it doesn't feel right. Dirt 5 is $44.99 on Steam and $54.99 on the PlayStation Network. The third game that's on PlayStation Plus this month is Persona 5 Strikers. This game straight away throws you into a little bit of combat, so you know what the main feel of the game will be. And for me, personally, it was definitely needed at the start, because the next half an hour or so was just this, and this. It seems like a lot of talking to explain the story and may irritate some players, but it's not unusual for the anime theme and makes for a really chill gaming experience. Fans of this game love the depth and the detail of the characters. This game has pretty nice visuals. It's cel shaded, which works really well for the anime theme and helps transitions between gameplay and cutscenes work well. The cutscenes are beautiful anime videos and was the thing I enjoyed most about this game. They were nice to watch, but they're not in it too often that it's pointless playing the game and better to instead watch the series. The combat in this game kind of plays like Dynasty Warriors and was pretty fun for a hack and slash type gameplay. There are tutorial pages to read and they're good at explaining how to use all of the abilities. The other genre element is a dungeon crawler, so it has a map on the heads up display and enemies blocking your path. This game I feel was very audience specific, and if you're not a huge lover of anime, you may struggle to get into this one. Don't get me wrong, if you like that type of gameplay, this game is absolutely brilliant, and it shows in the reception it got from fans of the franchise. The developers have been highly praised for advancing the franchise in a good way. Persona 5 Strikers is roughly £25 to £30 to buy a disc version, but $54.99 on Steam and on the PlayStation Network.
I think whether the PlayStation Plus Pass is worth it or not depends on if you appreciate the genres of these games in the first place. But they are very specific to players' tastes, so just bear that in mind when you're deciding whether or not to get the PlayStation Plus Pass. However, if you did want to buy one or more of these games, then it is definitely worth you purchasing the PlayStation Plus Pass, as it works out cheaper than purchasing them on the network or on Steam. I hope this video helps anyone decide. Please make sure that you check the PlayStation Network terms and conditions before letting this review influence your decision on whether to buy the pass this month or not. Let me know in the comments down below what you thought of this month's choice of games.